The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pack wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
Welcome back, Wolfpack Wrestling fans. A brand new episode of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. We got one out before this holiday season. Stuff's getting a little busy around here, Pat. People are leaving. People are coming and going. School, a lot of duels, but glad we could hook up and get this podcast in.
Absolutely. I chased you around town, get you in here, and I'm just glad you made time for me today.
You texted me. I texted you back. I had to wait a few hours to figure out when we were doing this, but glad to get you in the office.
Yeah.
Here. It's very good. Relaxed today.
Yeah, and I see you got your NC State gear on for wrestling. You know, you picked the right team this week.
The teams that hook me up with gear, I support them. Right. So any other teams that listen to
and now I know. So gear and food on the road trips.
I don't eat a lot, but the food is pretty good. So, but speaking of food, holiday season, Christmas coming up. What are you yourself doing for the holidays?
So yeah, growing up in New York, I'll head up there for a couple days, get to see some people, family, and it's good to this is a good point in the season to kind of regroup, reevaluate, and everybody kind of go their separate ways for a few days and decompress, and we'll start right back up. Very limited time to hang out, relax.
How long will your drive be up to New York?
Let's see. It'll take me 15 minutes to get to RDU, and then about another 10 from Albany Airport to home. So about 25 minutes of driving.
Rolling first class, I assume?
Yeah.
Turning in those points.
Yeah, that's right. Let's cash in.
But so that is your schedule. We're taping this a couple of days before Christmas. Take us through the guys' schedule. Now, you guys are going down to Florida later in December, but what about right now? What do the guys get to do over the break?
Yeah, it's a good time right now to kind of really focus in on some intense training. Not many times where you got a good break coming up. So we talked about a good plan. These guys have been phenomenal with attacking our workouts, and there's no school going on right now, so it's strictly training and recovery and going again. And we're trying to take it to the next level on some conditioning. We realize that we're always working to get in better position and conditioning as the season goes on, and that's something we're focused in on right now.
What are the guys responsible for conditioning over the break while they're away from NC State?
They're going to want to recover. I mean, right now, the way we're going, they're going to need a day or two to regroup, recover. So we plan that into our training. And, a lot of these guys will have to get into their high school gyms and do some cross training at home. But, at the end of the day, they're not going to be home that long, and we'll get them back down. Everybody will meet in Florida. We'll fly down there on the 26th and start back up.
And we mentioned this coming off one of the most exciting duels probably that we've seen at NC State. Number 7 NC State defeated number 11 Nebraska 18-17. Came down to criteria. As a head coach, have you ever had criteria fall into a duel before?
So yeah, funny you say that, but when on the losing end on a criteria, when I was at Binghamton, we wrestled Cornell. They were ranked, I think, 3rd in the country, 3rd or 4th, and came down to criteria, and it was same thing happened. Evenly matched with results during the dual meet, and it came down to total team points scored, and I think we lost that one by 3, and we were fortunate enough to, I think Tariq's match, putting all those points up really helped tremendously with that.
I was going to say, going into Tariq's match, you obviously knew you needed 5 points to tie the score. Did you know the criteria at that point?
I knew it came down to points, and I knew if we got a tech fault, I obviously didn't add them up in my head. And I knew we had scored a lot of points in other matches. We were close to getting 2 majors. So I knew we had a lot of points on the board to begin with, and then when he went out there and lit the scoreboard up, that was awesome to have.
And the duel started at 1:41. Going into the intermission, Nebraska was up 14-3. What did you tell your guys at the intermission? How did you have to regroup there?
Yeah, I don't think we should do that on here, so we'll keep that.
Okay.
No, we had we just talked about. Obviously, momentum wasn't going our way. In a dual meet, a lot of times you need a little bit of spark, a little bit of momentum, and we looked flat. We weren't, we didn't look like we were excited to be out there and wrestle. And that wasn't our guys by any means. It was just the way things played out, and there wasn't the energy we wanted. And we talked about letting things fly. Let's go out there and really open up and put some points on the board and not be on our heels when we're competing. And Reenan obviously is a good guy to have come out and do that, because he, hits a huge throw. And, that's sometimes all you need is just get some people behind it, and the crowd was into it, and it got real exciting. And that match obviously was a barn burner. Score was closer than probably what was going on out there, but in any event, the score was close, and we ended up sneaking out that win. And Malik, I think he wrestled phenomenal and wrestled extremely hard, and that really got momentum going in what we needed, and I think everybody kind of responded well from that.
And you mentioned Reenan. He came in, got a win over Taylor Vance, who was ranked number 3, second top 10 win for Reenan this year, and really sparked it. And, you mentioned it. There's a little debate on Twitter. 3 takedowns to 0. Some people complaining big score wasn't big enough, saying other people are saying there's more than just a takedown.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to adjust, and the scoreline was what it was, but Nick really has been wrestling well. 3 ACC Wrestlers of the Week this season, 2 in a row. But people know now who Nick Reenan is, and he's going to get everybody's best shot going forward.
Absolutely, and we want that. I think he did that to himself this summer, and it is. You can sit here and debate all the way along. The scoring should be this, should be that. It is what it is. It's college wrestling. The rules are in front of you before you go out there and compete. We know that. So if you want to win, you got to obviously keep putting points up on the board, and that's something we all know, and we'll continue to do a better job. Nick knows that. And at the end of the day, if you're scoring 3 takedowns, you should be winning the match regardless of where you're at and who you're wrestling. So he's dangerous. At the end of the day, he's a very dangerous wrestler, and I like it because it changes the way guys have to wrestle him. They have to really have a strategy to go out there and wrestle Nick Reenan, and that changes the game tremendously. And anybody that tries to come at him, he can throw you at any given time, so that makes him dangerous there. And he's fun to watch. And that's where we're at as a team right now. We got a lot of guys that can put up points and are dangerous to go out and wrestle. And it's when we're hitting from all cylinders, this is a fun team to go out and watch compete.
Has Reenan hit the headlock on you in practice?
I have video of me headlocking Reenan twice. He will get real mad, and he'll keep saying I cheated, that I used my legs and like we were wrestling Greco or something. But this was actually his first week here, and I just feel like we have better guys for him to train with now, so I'll leave that up to them. And I keep telling him anytime he gets a little lippy that I've headlocked him.
Another top 10 team for another top 10 win for NC State. Malik McDonald got a win over number 9 Schultz, and like you said, Malik came down a weight class. First signature win this year. He got that takedown in the second, and just wrestled really good throughout that whole match.
He looked extremely focused, and that's what we asked these guys to do this week, is to be real focused going into this dual meet, and Malik showed that. He showed his leadership and his experience, and that's what we need out of a fifth-year senior, a guy like that. His goal is to win a national title this year, and he's driven, he's motivated, he does everything right, and it just takes some time. It's a long season, so to judge kids on the first month of the season I don't care what school you're at and what weight you're at. It's a long season, and you're going to see guys slowly work their way into being one of the best guys in the country, and I think that's what we have with Malik McDonald.
125. Have you seen this nickname, Kentucky Gambler?
I love it. That's a good nickname for him.
Fortunately, I can't put that on Twitter, but no, we can say it on the podcast.
You can say it on the podcast. That's our thing.
Kentucky Gambler, Sean Fowles, you got to see him back in action, weighed in, got down to weight. Great to see Sean obviously out there, but he beat a 2-time All-American, former NCAA finalist and number 11 Moisey, 8-2, but Sean really in control of that bout, really good on the defense, turned it into offense. Talk about just Sean being out there.
Sean, we need him. I mean, anytime he's in our lineup, it shows leadership. He's been through, coming off world championships. He's wrestled at every level. So when we have him, we have more confidence in our program and our team. And he's one of those guys that you want in our dual meets. And, we'll be selective when we use him, but it changes the game when he's in there. It's just another guy that we know can go out and put up points, wrestle hard, and is going to get momentum going for us when we're in these dual meets. And, it's nice to have him back and seeing him compete out there, because there was a guy that beat him a couple years ago. It just shows you the progress Sean has made and how far he's come and how hard he's worked to get where he's at.
think we should also note Sean was out most of the summer, and then he trained freestyle. So he's just getting back into that folk style cycle. So
Yep.
he should be really, getting stronger here towards the end of the season as we see him a little bit more and more.
Yeah, and he will. I mean, we know certain things we got to work on, and he was limited on his training up until, basically 2 weeks before the World Championship. So it's good. Get him back full force. He's dangerous.
And so going into the last bout at 133, you guys were down 5. Did you have a chance, or did you talk to Tariq before he went out there?
No, and that's the luxury of being where we're at with a guy like Tariq. I mean, he's a gamer. He knew exactly what he needed to do, and he stepped up big time for this team, because he could have easily went out there and gotten a win, by 7 or 8 points and coasted through it. But he pushed himself hard to make sure he got some of those turns. And the luxury with him is if he needs to score on his feet, he could have cut the kid a couple times and, got a few takedowns and maybe changed the way the match was going. But he stayed aggressive on top, got those, now anytime you get a turn, those are big points. And we were thankful to have him be the last guy to go up there, because I think that pressure helped, going into that last match, regardless of, who you had out there. Both guys felt pressure, and I think that's when we wrestle our best.
Tariq, he did a great job. He was patient, very patient, waiting for those turns. But against App State, the duel before, he came off the mat a little mad. He didn't score as many points as he wanted. Was he a little more motivated for this duel? Not motivated might be the right word, but he just wanted to go out there and
I think it's
offense.
one of those, the level of just how important the event is, and we made this a big event, and it was big for the team race, and I think you put certain guys in certain positions for that, and the bigger the environment, the harder they're going to step up to that situation. And that was clear that was part of the situation this past weekend. It was one where he knew, hey, he can go out and be a storyline finish for this team this weekend, and that's exactly what he did. And it was an awesome atmosphere on a stage against a really good team. And no better way to end it with having him out there getting a tech fall.
You mentioned that atmosphere up on a stage, some very nice mat side seats, really put a lot of marketing effort into this. How great was that crowd? And just one of the loudest crowds I think I've heard in Reynolds.
Definitely. And that's something, as we continue to build, we'll keep talking about it. But until we fill that thing up and sell out, that's going to be a critical part of continuing to build. You look around the programs that are competing to win national titles, that we need this environment. We need to continue to do our part and have success and win. The guys are going to continue to work hard and do things right. And at the end of the day, we need people showing up for our matches. It matters. It matters tremendously, because we could have easily wrestled in there with a couple hundred people and it would have been a dull atmosphere. But there was definitely, you could feel the energy. The guys knew it. And that's when you see some of the best wrestling in the country happen.
I went back, I watched a couple of matches. A couple times you went up on the stage, you took the steps. Other times you made the jump.
It shows you I still got it.
Were you ever nervous making that jump?
Nah, it was only like 6 feet high, I think.
Okay. You recovered okay? That Stairmaster.
I think it's 6 feet or 5. I'm not sure.
I'm saying the Stairmaster doesn't go up that high, so I was just making sure.
Just shows you how athletic I am there.
And where did you get the suit jacket?
Well, I'm trying to, there's been a lot of pressure to step up the game. Adam pulls out suspenders. He thinks he's going to one-up me. Kevin's talking about all the stuff that he's doing or getting for Christmas that his mom's buying him. And then you got Donnie. We're still working on Donnie a little bit, but he's getting better at it. Will's got a new pair of shoes every time I see him. So I was like, it's about time to get something new and step up. But local guy here in Raleigh hooked me up pretty good. Got a nice fit to it. And I don't know if I can do the bright red like Keats does, because that's his style. But I went with something a little more, traditional on that.
Will also had a pair of pants. Did you notice? I
did, and that's why I got to give him credit, because everybody's been stepping up their game. They're making it true competition here. Adam actually, he started it a little bit this year, and so they didn't realize, but about 6 months ago I ordered these, and they finally came in. So I think I set the tone on that.
Great atmosphere. A lot of home duels coming up in January. Have a couple events before, but actually the very next home duel I wanted to get your thoughts on. It's going to be January 12th, and you guys are actually taking this duel to the PNC Arena.
Yes.
What was the thought process? How did that come about? Just how exciting is it to compete after a men's basketball game over at the PNC Arena?
It's going to be awesome. The fact that they can go in there and play and carry some momentum into the dual meet that we're going to have. But again, we're trying to continue to grow our fan base, and no better way to do it than piggybacking it off of one of the most successful sports in history at NC State. And they have a great following. And if we can just win some fans over that would love to watch wrestling and see, the commitment that we've made to continue to build, and then them to get to see, I think it's one of those. Once you come to a wrestling match, whether you understand the sport or not, you at least appreciate the intensity and the work that's going on. And I think with time, we've been able to win some fans over, and that's what we're hoping to do here, is to cross over and get some people that want to stick around and make that an interesting atmosphere, because we're going into PNC. It's a huge arena for wrestling, but it's also one of those, down the road, you never know if we're going to be able to host an NCAA tournament. This is how things get started like that, and that's kind of a trial run to see, hey, this could be a beautiful arena down the road for NCAAs.
And that same night, we just got the email today. What's happening that night after the duel?
So that'll be our casino night. I believe that's what you're talking about, right? You put me on the spot.
I do.
All right, good. But I know it was that weekend. I didn't know if it was that night.
Well, the email came from your account, so I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know I sent that out. Of course I did, but I didn't know if it was the night of Brown or West Virginia.
It's Brown.
All right, making sure, because it's a doubleheader there. But no, we'll do our casino night, and that turned out to be an awesome event. I think last year we had close to 200 people come, and all the proceeds go to our Wolfpack Wrestling RTC to support our guys that are training here. And we have some really good prizes for people. We have some things that will be new this year, but it's one of those where if you're one of the top winners, it's competitive. But if you leave there with the most chips, you're getting some kind of prize that's going to be very rewarding to have and something you can't buy.
Okay.
So you better learn how to play a little poker.
A framed 8x10 Popolizio action shot?
You got it.
Okay.
Yep.
But that's going to be a busy weekend. January 12th, Brown at the PNC Arena. Later that night, casino night. And then the next day, Sunday, the 13th, West Virginia back in rounds. Definitely going to be talking about that weekend as we're upcoming. I believe one of those is a big alumni weekend, too. But upcoming here, we're going to go in the break, but then returning, you guys are going to be at the South Beach Duels down in Fort Lauderdale. That's December 29th and 30th. 4 duels over 3 days, and quite a very good lineup. You guys start with number 18, Wyoming, number 13, Purdue, number 22, Utah Valley, and then Indiana. 2 teams from the Big Ten there. What made you guys want to go to the South Beach Duels? This is the first year you guys are taking part down there.
Change it up. I think if you look at our schedule every year, we've tried to do something a little different, a little more unique. And going to Italy the one year, then going to, last year we went to Reno, right? No, Reno and Italy last year.
Last year.
Blended together. We went to Midlands the one year. But we kind of, the thought process behind it is, hey, we're at the national tournament. You're going to wrestle 2 matches a day. Day 1, day 2, and that's kind of what we want to get at this point in the season is 2 really tough matches, make weight, get a 1-pound allowance. So our guys are going to get tested on the mat, making weight and turn around, but at the same time, change it up and have some downtime with the guys over there to do some team building activities, and the weather's going to be nice. And we got to do more of that with the sport. We're caught doing, I don't know, being in an arena, sun up to sun down, and it's like, let's do something different. Let's keep growing. And I think you're seeing more and more of that, people being creative with these events, and that's why I wanted to take part in it.
You guys are obviously going down there for the 4 duels, but you're actually going down a few days early. So you're using this more as team bonding since there's no school.
It is. A little bit of that, just to be in our room training all year, I think can make you stale. So we'll get our guys on the road, test out, if we have to come through some overcome some adversity. Every trip that's long, usually something happens. When we went to Italy, I think our flight back got canceled and we had to get on a bus last minute and drive through the night. And those things are going to happen. And so it's how your team responds, and as we're on the road here and maybe we go to work out and the heat's not working. I don't know if we even need it there, but maybe it's 60 degrees and the little things. So how do you respond? How do you deal with it? Because when you get to the national tournament, you got to stay super focused regardless what's happening around you. And this is what I like seeing. We'll test ourselves.
Anything special planned, or is planning still going on?
We're planning some things out, but we'll get on the beach a little bit. We're obviously not going to miss any training. And then maybe a little miniature golfing. I know guys will probably bring the spike ball down and be playing on the beach spike ball, so we'll see.
Pat, I hope you have a good holiday break. I hope you let me have a day or two as well. That would be very appreciated. But
we'll see. Make sure you answer my text messages.
Fun wrap up here. That Nebraska duel, just one of the most exciting in Reynolds. We hope we get crowds like that every duel going here forward. And good luck down at South Beach duels. Very good competition. You guys are going to be tested very much.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about this time of the year. We got to be ready to go because we're wrestling 4 really good teams.
Thank you, everybody, for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering everything NC State Wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack Wrestling fans, go Pack.
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MatTalkOnline.com.